Amara was just 3 days from being homeless when a convoy was dispatched from a quiet, leafy street in Banana Island. She had no idea the net worth of the old woman she helped with 1,500 naira was tied to the very mall she was begging in front of. Amara didn't just give rice to a beggar. She had, unknowingly, fed the wealthiest and most reclusive woman in Lagos. But that was not the beginning of the story. The beginning was in the noise, heat, and casual cruelty of the Lekki Epe Expressway. On the scalding pavement beside the Seku Mall in Jakande, two women stood on opposite ends of destiny. Jessica, a Lekki influencer whose life was a mosaic of curated, air-conditioned perfection on Instagram, saw the old woman begging. The woman's skin bore the marks of hardship, her hands trembling as she reached out to passers-by. Jessica saw content. She raised her iPhone 15 Pro Max, the sunlight glinting off his triple-lens camera. She zoomed in, catching the woman's pained expression. See this one, she said to her 500,000 followers on Instagram Live, disgracing the youth. This is why people say Lagos is a zoo. Honestly, she's not even trying. Her comment section filled with validation. Facts. Na so then they do. Lazy. Ew, she's so dirty. A moment later, a dispatch bike, a battered Bajaj coughing black smoke pulled over. The rider, Amara, was barely 25. Her helmet was scratched, her delivery jacket faded to a dull grey, but her eyes were clear. She parked, her mind racing. That's my last 1,500 naira. It's for my fuel tomorrow. She looked at the woman, but I can't leave her. I just can't. She walked to a local food seller, the smell of wood smoke and spicy jollof cutting through the exhaust fumes. Mama, give me 1 takeaway rice and 2 pure water. She knelt by the old woman, the hot pavement burning her knees through her jeans. Mama, please, eat small. The old woman looked up. Her eyes were sharp, intelligent. She took the food, and her hand, surprisingly strong, covered Amara's. My child, the rain that beats the eagle will only wash its feathers. It will not touch his skin. Go. Amara nodded, confused but comforted. She got on her bike and drove off into the gridlock, her own stomach empty. She didn't see Jessica filming this too. Oh, look at Miss Savior with her little 1,500 naira rice. Poverty loves poverty. What a waste. That night, Jessica posted an edited video. It showed the old woman, then Amara's kind dad, but with a new cruel voiceover. Don't be fooled by this poverty poor. The real hustle is in your head, not in the streets. You can't save anyone when you can't even save yourself. #mindset. It got 100,000 likes. Amara, in her tiny Sululere one-room apartment, saw nothing. Her data had finished 3 days ago. Her destiny had been altered. The spiral had begun. The first thread of Amara's life unraveled in a place that should have been safe, her own office. It was a small, cramped dispatch logistics hub in Yaba. The air was thick with the smell of bike exhaust, stale sweat, and the buzzing of 2 struggling ceiling fans. Amara, a first-class graduate of mechanical engineering, was checking her delivery schedule, her mind calculating routes and fuel efficiency, while her hands wiped dust from a package. The door opened and the air changed. The fans seemed to slow. Perfume, oud, and arrogance cut through the grime. It was Jessica. She was there for a potential collaboration, a PR stunt to show she supported small businesses. She spotted Amara instantly. Her eyes, cold and assessing, swept over Amara's uniform, her dusty boots, her tired face. Wait, Jessica said, her voice loud, performatic. It was meant for the other 5 riders and the manager, Mr. Wale, to hear. Amara looked up, her heart sinking. I remember you, Jessica sneered, a perfect, cruel smile on her lips. The girl from the mall, the savior. She stepped closer, her white sneakers pristine on the dirty floor. So, even a lady like you is doing delivery work. In this sun, what happened? She paused for effect. Oh, right, bad mindset. Amara's throat tightened. It's a job, Jessica. It's not a job, darling. It's a public disgrace, Jessica said, turning to Mr. Wally, who was sweating. You let women ride? How progressive. I hope she can handle it. I'd hate for my Jessica Foundation packages to be delivered by someone who looks, well, like this. The other riders, all men, looked down. One snickered. Mr. Wale, who desperately needed the influencer collaboration to stay afloat, just smiled, a tight, painful grimace. Amara is one of our best, very reliable. I'm sure, Jessica said dismissively. Well, try not to get too dusty. It's a bad look for the brand. Amara wanted to scream. I have a first-class degree. I design engines in my head. I could buy and sell you if the world was fair. But the world wasn't fair. This was Lagos. She said nothing. She just watched her own manager bow and scrape to the woman who had just destroyed her dignity for sport. Mr. Wele didn't meet her eyes for the rest of the day. As Jessica left, she handed him a 20,000 naira note. For your boys, get them drinks. Later, one of the riders, Tunde, patted Amara on the back. No mind am jare, she be winch. Another rider, Emeka, just shook his head. Wetin Mr. Wale go do? That girl get 500,000 followers. She fit close this our office with one post. But the words didn't help. Amara walked home that night because she couldn't afford the bus fare, saving her money for her landlord. The generator noise of Surilere sounded like he was laughing at her. Another piece of her dignity was gone. The second blow came not from a stranger, but from the man who held the roof over her head. Amara was in her small room, the one with the peeling yellow paint and the single buzzing bulb. She was counting the 18,500 naira she had managed to save, hiding it in an old textbook. Her rent, 150,000 naira for the year, was 2 months overdue. Her phone, an old Techno with a spider web of cracks, buzzed. It was her landlord, Mr. Alabi. Amara, his voice boomed through the small speaker, distorted with anger. Your grace period is over. Over. Good evening, sir. Amara said, her voice trembling. She stood up, a sign of respect even though he couldn't see her. Please, sir. I am trying. I will have it by the end of the month. I just need 2 more weeks, sir. Business has been slow. There was a long, loud sucking sound of teeth on the other end. 2 weeks? Is it 2 weeks you will tell them when they want to cut my light? Is it 2 weeks I will use to buy fuel for my generator? Am I your father? Sir, please, I am begging you. Be quiet, he shouted. I passed your street yesterday. I saw that influencer, Jessica, the one with the big car. She lives on the next street, in that new mini estate. She just renewed her rent, 6 months in advance. Do you know what she gave me? 500,000 naira, and she dashed me 20,000 naira for fuel. She's a young girl like you. Or is she not your mate? Amara's stomach dropped. Sir, our paths are different. Paths? The path to success is one, my friend. She is using her brain. You are using your own to ride Okada. I will give you 1 week. 7 days. After that, I will throw your dirty things outside. Useless girl. The line went dead. Amara stared at her cracked screen. She opened her bank app. Balance, 18,500 naira and 34 kobo. She checked her WhatsApp. Her line rod had just updated his status. It was a picture of him and Jessica at a party. He was grinning, holding a bottle of Hennessy. The caption read, with my favorite tenant, hard work pays. Some people are just lazy. #Lekki life. Amara sat on her mat. She didn't cry. She just felt cold, despite the sweltering heat. The walls of her tiny room, which always felt like a sanctuary, now felt like a coffin. She found herself in Yaba, under the blazing 2 p.m. sun. Her favorite work jeans had finally ripped beyond repair, the fabric giving way at the knee. She needed new ones, but all she could afford was the second-hand market. She was at the bend-down select pile, the air thick with the smell of dust, sweat, and mothballs. She was haggling with a market woman over a pair of faded but steady first-grade American Eagle jeans. "Mama, abeg, 1,200 naira. Na wetin I get?" "This one na original," the woman grumbled, but her eyes were kind. "Oya, take am. You be my pikin." As Amara reached into her bag to pull out the rumpled notes, a shadow fell over her. "Oh my God! Are you serious?" Amara's blood turned to ice. It was Jessica. She was with two other friends, both dressed in designers at leisure, holding vlogging cameras. They were thrifting for their YouTube channel. An aesthetic, ironic performance. "Jessica, who's this?" one friend asked, wrinkling her nose at the pile of clothes. "This," Jessica announced, "is the girl I was telling you about, the savior of Sokumore." She raised her own phone, recording. "Amara, is it?" the other friend shady asked. "Is this where you buy your clothes? So vintage." "No, Shady, it's not vintage," Jessica corrected, her voice dripping with mock pity. It's just sad." "Amara, still saving the world?" Jessica cooed. "Or are you buying this?" She pointed a perfectly manicured finger at the jeans in Amara's hand. "Jessica, please," Amara whispered, trying to hide the jeans. The other shoppers were watching now, whispering, pointing. "Please what?" Jessica laughed. "Girls, this is what happens when you don't work smart. You end up buying reject clothes. No wonder you smell of dust." The market woman, a tough woman with a face like cured leather, stepped forward, hands on her hips. "Leave her. You, na you dey feed her. She dey pay for her clothes. She no dey steal. Na you fine pass." Jessica rolled her eyes. "Old woman, relax. Don't let your witchcraft rub off on me." She looked at Amara, who was frozen in place. Jessica's friend was filming it all. "You know what?" Jessica said, enjoying the power. She reached into a tiny Gucci purse and pulled out a crumpled 5,000 naira note. She threw it on the pile of clothes. "Here, buy yourself something decent and keep the change. My foundation is for people like you after all." It wasn't kindness. It was a public execution. Amara couldn't move. The 5,000 naira note looked obscene, lying on the dusty jeans. I don't want your money," Amara managed to say, her voice shaking. "Oh, shut up, beggar. Pride? With what? A dirty dispatch jacket? Come on, girls, this place stinks." They walked away laughing, their cameras still rolling. Amara stood there, shaking. The market woman looked at Amara's face, which was a mask of agony. She said softly, "This city is wicked, my child." She picked up the 5,000 naira note and tried to press it into Amara's hand. Amara flinched and stepped back as if the money was on fire. "No, Mama, please. You keep it. Buy food for your children." She turned and fled the market without the jeans. Her old ones still ripped. The stares of the other shoppers felt like tiny knives in her back. She hid in a downfall bus, her body shaking as the exhaust fumes filled her lungs. Another prayer bounced back, unanswered. Sunday morning came too quickly. Amara loved her church, a large Pentecostal assembly in Sululere. It was the one place she felt she wasn't just a delivery driver. She was a daughter of Zion. She arrived late that Sunday, exhausted from a long Saturday delivery. She hadn't had time to wash her delivery jacket, but it was the only thick one she owned, and the morning had been cold. It was clean, but stained with engine oil and faded by the sun. She walked in during the praise session, the music loud and joyful. The ushers, dressed in pristine white and green uniforms, were at the door.
An usher, a woman Amara knew, Sister Funke, stopped her. "Sister Amara, good morning," she said, her smile not reaching her eyes. Good morning, ma. Sorry I'm late. Amara moved toward her usual aisle, but Sister Funke put a firm hand on her arm. Ah, sister, you can't sit there today. But there's an empty seat. I always sit there. Yes, but your jacket. Sister Funke's eyes scanned it with visible distaste. It's dusty, and it smells of fuel. We have special guests in the front rows today. Partners. She pointed to the front. Amara's heart stopped. Jessica was sitting in the very first row, resplendent in a massive white and gold head tie. She was being honored as a diamond partner of the church, having just donated 1 million naira for the new air conditioning system. Jessica saw Amara. She didn't smile. She didn't frown. She just watched, her face impassive, as the usher humiliated her. Then she leaned over and whispered something to the woman next to her, who also turned to look at Amara and sneer. Please, ma. Amara whispered, her face burning. I just want to praise God. My heart is clean. A clean heart should come with a clean appearance, Sister Funke said, her voice turning sharp and righteous. You can praise Him. In the back. In the overflow. With the others. The others were the people who came in late. The new members. The ones whose clothes weren't deemed appropriate. People in the pews were watching. They heard. They saw. One older woman, a mommy in the church, whispered to her neighbor, This is not Christian. But she did nothing. She turned her face back to the altar. Another person whispered, Is that not the girl from Instablog? The one that is stalking Jessica? Ah, she even followed her to church. Now what? The pastor on the microphone shouted, Hallelujah! He was preaching on the scent of favor, and he kept gesturing towards Jessica's row. Favor is not for everyone. It follows those who are prepared for it. Amara's hope crumbled. Even here. God, even you? Even in your house? She turned and walked out of the church. She couldn't go to the overflow. She couldn't bear the shame. She sat on the gutter outside the church, her head in her hands, as the sound of the choir singing, My God is a good God, mocked her. She was too dirty for the world. Now she was too dirty for God's house. Amara's phone buzzed. A friend from University Chioma had sent her a link. OMG, Amara, this is not you, right? Tell me this is not you. Amara's data was on. A rare 200 naira daily subscription she bought for work. She clicked the link. It was Jessica's Instagram page. A new video slickly edited had been posted. It started with the clip from the Yaba market, showing Amara's hands on the second-hand clothes. Then it cut to Jessica in her Range Rover, sipping a latte. Jessica's voiceover was smooth, confident, and dripping with false sympathy. I meet girls like this all the time. They complain that life is hard, that there's no money. But look. The video cut back to Amara. But her face was blurred. Her dusty jacket was clear, her worn-out boots. Poverty is a choice, ladies. It's a mindset. You can either be like this digging through a creek car for 1,000 naira jeans, or you can be like me. The video cut to a montage of Jessica, flying business class, popping champagne, holding designer bags. Work smart, not hard. Stop making excuses. Stop waiting for handouts. Stop blaming the village people. The person you need to fight is the person you see in the mirror. Choose wealth. The post was captioned, Poverty is a choice. Stop complaining and fix your mindset. #bossbabe. #Lekki life. #wealth mindset. #no excuses. Amara's hands trembled. Her face was blurred, but she knew it was her. Her jacket, her hands, her shame. The comments were a river of cruelty. Facts! This! I'm so tired of lazy people. She even looks dirty. Ugh, that's a poverty smell you can just see. Tell them, Queen, preach. I bet she's a thief too. They always are. This is why I don't give money to dispatch riders. They just waste it. One comment from a user Amara didn't know read, I think I know this girl. She's a dispatch rider in Yaba, always looking sad. Amara's heart stopped. She threw her phone against the wall. The screen, already cracked, went black.
She had just been used as a faceless, nameless poster child for poverty. Her humiliation was now content. Her pain was now Jessica's inspiration. She sat in the dark, the silence of her room roaring in her ears. Tuesday brought a torrential Lagos downpour. Amara had fixed her phone screen, a cheap replacement that barely worked, and had a delivery to a large opulent estate in Lekki. She arrived at the gate, soaked to the bone. The rain was so heavy, it felt like stones. Her bike was sputtering. She parked and ran to the security gate house, dripping. "Good evening, sir. I have a delivery for 14B, Mr. Johnson." The security guard looked at her with disdain. "You cannot just stand here, auntie. Move your bike. You are dripping water everywhere." "Sir, please, the rain." "I say move," he barked. She stepped back outside, huddling under the small useless overhang. She shivered, the wind whipping rain onto her. A white Range Rover identical to Jessica's pulled up. The horn blared, a long, impatient sound. The security guard jumped to attention, running out to the large umbrella. The tinted window slid down. It was Jessica. She lived in this estate. She looked at Amara, standing there, a pathetic draping mess. A slow, malicious smile spread across her face. "Well, well, well," Jessica said, her voice cutting through the sound of the rain. "Look what the flood washed in." Her friend, the one from the market, was in the passenger seat, already recording. Amara just stared, her body numbed with cold and shock. "Still doing this dirty job? In the rain? Chai," Jessica laughed. "You must really love suffering. Is this stalking? Are you obsessed with me? Disgrace to our gender." She turned to the security guard, who was holding the umbrella, getting soaked himself. "Don't let her in yet. Let her wait. I don't want her dirty bike trailing mud to my street. She's probably a thief anyway." The guard, terrified of the residents, nodded. "Yes, ma. At all, ma." Jessica looked back at Amara. "My friend, go and find a real woman's job. This is not for you. You are a disgrace to our gender. You are making us all look weak." The window slid up. The gate opened. The Range Rover swept through, and Jessica deliberately stared into a large puddle, sploshing a tidal wave of muddy gutter water all over Amara's legs. Amara didn't move. She stood in the rain, the water mixing with the tears she didn't know she was crying. The security guard came back, his face full of pity. "Auntie, sorry oh, these Lekki people, their heart is black." He opened the gate for her. She delivered the food. The customer complained it was cold and didn't tip. On her way out, she saw Jessica's Range Rover parked in front of a massive duplex. She was on her balcony, under a light, taking a selfie. The caption would read, "Cozy nights in, #rainy day, #blessed." Amara would home in the rain, the cold seeping into her bones. But it was the cold in her heart that scared her. It was a cold that was starting to feel permanent. By the time Amara woke up, her phone was exploding. Someone at the gate, perhaps the other driver waiting behind her, had recorded the exchange. Or perhaps Jessica's friend, the one who was in the car with her, had posted it on Snapchat. It didn't matter. The new video was everywhere. Sunday Ednot, Easter Blog Ninja, Gist Lover, Twitter. This time, her face was clear. The video from the gate was paired with the video from the market. A gossip blog had put them side by side. Shocking. Lekki influencer, Jessica, humiliates hard-working delivery girl Amara after spotting her at Yaba Market. But the narrative was twisted. Jessica, seeing the potential backlash, had quickly posted her own defense. An official statement written in perfect PR speak. "This girl has been stalking me," she wrote on her Instagram, a tearful-looking selfie. "I have been obsessed ever since I tried to give her money at the mall. She shows up where I am, at the market, at my estate. I am scared for my life. I told her to leave me alone. She's clearly unstable." But then she posted a new photo, a screenshot from a concerned fan. It was a blurry picture of Amara in her jacket, parked near the church Jessica attended. She even followed me to my church. "I'm begging you all, pray for me. And pray for her. She needs help." The internet mob turned on Amara with a vengeance. Her full name was leaked, Her company, Lagos Swift Logistics, was tagged. She's a stalker, arrest her. She's just jealous of Jessica. It's a poverty-fueled obsession. Now wow, poverty really is a disease. See her evil face. I bet she's a witch. She's trying to harm Jessica. Old classmates from university found the post, family members from her village. Her phone became a weapon of torture. Notifications, tags, messages. Amara, is this you? You've disgraced our family. This is your uncle in Ibadan. Don't call us again. Wow, Amara, I can't believe I sat next to you in class. First class to this. What a waste. Pathetic. She was no longer a person. She was a meme, a story, a villain. The next morning, Amara walked into the dispatch office, her eyes red and swollen. The other riders went silent. Tunde wouldn't even look at her. Mr. Wali called her into his office. He wouldn't look at her. Amara, he started, his voice heavy. Mr. Wali, I can explain. It's all a lie. She's lying. Don't, he said, holding up a hand. I don't care. I don't want to know. He turned his computer screen to her. The company's Instagram page was filled with comments. His Google rating was destroyed. So you employ stalkers. Fire Amara, #justice for Jessica. I'm never using your service again. Unsafe company. 1 star. My rider was probably a crazy stalker. Our rating has dropped from 4.8 to 2.1 stars overnight, Mr. Wali said. His voice was dead. Jessica's fans, there are many. She has called for a boycott. I am losing clients. Mr. Wali, it was a lie. Amara, I'm sorry. He finally looked at her, and his eyes were cold. Business, not personal. The post is bad for business. Our brand, we can't be associated with this. I have 5 other riders to think about. So what are you saying? She whispered, though she already knew.
We have to let you go. Effective immediately. It was a soft sentence, but it hit her like a physical slap. But the bike, the job, is all I have. Mr. Wali, please. I'm sorry, Amara. Leave your jacket and the helmet at the front desk. He turned back to his computer. She was dismissed. She stood there for a full minute, unable to move. The one thing that gave her structure, the one thing that paid or tried to pay her bills was gone. She walked out. She slowly took off the faded, stained jacket, the one that had caused the humiliation at the church, the one that identified her in the viral posts. She placed it on the counter. She placed her scratched helmet beside it. Tunde, the rider, was watching. He looked devastated for her, but when Mr. Wali glanced up, he quickly looked away. Amara just shook her head and walked out. She walked out into the Yaba sun, jobless, infamous, broke, and completely, utterly alone. She got back to her Surulere room. The journey was a blur. She didn't know how she paid for the bus. Her feet were on autopilot. She locked the door. The landlord's 1-week notice was up tomorrow. Her job was gone. Her reputation was in shreds. Her phone was on 5% battery, still vibrating with hateful messages from unknown numbers. She looked at her bank app one last time. Balance, 850 naira and 12 kobo. She had used her last cash for the bus. She had failed. She had graduated with a first-class degree in mechanical engineering. She had dreamed of designing cars. She had come to Lagos with so much hope. And now, she was a national disgrace, a stalker, a poverty mindset. A bitter, choking sob ripped through her. She fell to her mat, her body convulsing. The humiliation from the office, the church, the market, the gate, it all crashed down on her at once. She was drowning. Jessica had won. With her phone, her car, and her lies, she had erased Amara. Amara's phone buzzed one last time, a notification from her bank. It was a 100 naira debit, SMS charges. Her phone battery died. The screen went black. It was the final symbolic death. She was disconnected from everything. She lay on the mat, the tears stopping. A cold, quiet numbness took over. Her stomach cramped with hunger. God, she whispered to the ceiling, her voice raw. God, are you there? The silence of the room was her only answer.
She had reached absolute rock bottom, and it was here, in the suffocating darkness of her Surulere room, that she finally prayed. It wasn't a polite prayer. It was a raw, desperate scream from the bottom of her soul. She got on her knees, her face pressed to the mat. God, she cried, her voice breaking, Father Lord, Jehovah, you see me. You see what they have done to me. I didn't do anything wrong. I bought rice. I bought water. Is that my crime? They have taken my job. They have taken my name. They have taken my dignity. My landlord is throwing me out tomorrow. I have 715 naira left. I have nothing. Her body shook. I'm so tired, God. I'm so tired. You said you are the God of the poor. You said you are a defender of the weak. Where are you? They are laughing at me. Jessica is on her bed in Lekki posting on social media, laughing. The ushers are in church, laughing. Mr. Wale has forgotten me. God, have you forgotten me too?
I am not asking for a Range Rover. I am not asking for endorsements. I am asking for one thing. She raised her head, her face a mess of tears and sweat. Send me one helper, just one. Send me one person to believe me, one person to fight for me, one person to show the truth. If you don't help me, God, if you don't send someone, I don't know what will happen. I can't do this anymore. I can't. Please, send me one helper. She collapsed back onto the mat. Her prayer finished, her energy gone. She didn't move. She just lay there, a broken heap on the floor. And in the depths of her exhaustion, surrounded by the smell of dust and despair, Amara fell into a deep, dreamless sleep. The next morning, sun streamed through the single dirty window. Amara woke with a start. Her body ached from sleeping on the floor. Her first thought was, the landlord. She sat up, her heart pounding. The despair of the previous night rushed back in. Nothing had changed. Then there was a knock. It wasn't the landlord's aggressive bang. It was a firm, polite, patient knock. Knock, knock, knock. Amara froze. He's here! She scrambled to her feet, looking for a place to hide. Knock, knock, knock. Who is it? She called, her voice hoarse. A deep, calm voice replied, Are you Miss Amara? Amara Chukwebuka? She paused. He used her full name. Yes. Who are you? My name is Femi. I've been looking for you. May I please come in? I have good news. Good news. The word sounded foreign. She was suspicious. Was this another trap? A reporter? One of Jessica's friends here to record her eviction. I am not dressed, she lied. That's all right, the voice said, patient. I am here about my grandmother. You helped her. Her mind flashed back. The old woman, Seku Mall, the jollof rice. She slowly unbolted the door and opened it a crack. The man standing outside was not what she expected. He was tall, dressed in a simple, immaculate white kaftan. He wasn't wearing flashy jewelry, but the watch on his wrist was thin, elegant, and looked more expensive than her entire apartment. His eyes were kind. There was no pity in them, only respect. Miss Amara, he asked again. She opened the door. How did you find me? Is she okay? She is very well, thank you. He smiled. My grandmother, Mama Agba, she likes to test the hearts of this city. She says it keeps her humble. You were the first person in 3 months to show her basic human kindness. 3 months? Her security detail took a note of your bikes. They took a picture of your bike's plate number, and we've been trying to find you. Amara was confused. Security detail? I thought she was homeless. Femi smiled, gently. My grandmother, Mama Agba, is not homeless. She's eccentric. She owns the building Seku Mall is in. She owns half of Jakande. She doesn't use her family name in public. Amara's mouth fell open. She was heartbroken when she saw the video Jessica posted, not for herself, but for you. She saw how Jessica mocked you for your kindness. I don't understand. My name is Femi Adebayo. Mama Agba is my grandmother. I am the CEO of Adebayo Holdings. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a business card. It was thick, embossed. The name was one Amara had seen on billboards, Adebayo Holdings. They were in oil, gas, real estate, and tech. We saw the first video Jessica posted, the one mocking you both. We've been watching her ever since. Watching her? Amara's voice was barely a whisper. My grandmother has lived through too much to let cruelty go unanswered. When she saw what Jessica did to you, what she's been doing to you, he paused. She asked me to intervene, but we needed to be careful. We needed to document everything. Document? The Yaba Market incident, the lies about you stalking her, the humiliation at the estate gate. We have friends in many places, Miss Amara. Security personnel, business owners, people who were willing to share footage when they learned what was happening. Amara's legs felt weak. She sat down on the edge of her mat. We also have the full, unedited CCTV footage from Seco, the body cam footage from my grandmother's security detail, the audio of Jessica mocking her. He looked at her, his expression serious. And yesterday, we saw the post that got you fired. Amara's eyes filled with tears again. She ruined me. No, Miss Amara, Femi said, his voice firm but gentle. She exposed herself. You just couldn't see it yet. He glanced around the small room, taking in the peeling paint, the single bulb, the mat on the floor. Here is what happens next. But first, I need to ask you something important. Amara looked up at him. Do you want revenge or do you want justice? She blinked, confused. What's the difference? Revenge is quick. It's satisfying for a moment. Justice takes time. It's thorough. It ensures that what happened to you doesn't happen to someone else. He sat down on the only chair in the room, a plastic one. My grandmother believes in justice, but the choice is yours. Amara thought about the past weeks, the humiliation, the hunger, the cold, the prayers that seemed to bounce back unanswered. Justice, she said quietly. I want justice. Femi nodded, satisfied. Good, then we do this the right way. Carefully, completely. He pulled out his phone and typed something. A moment later, Amara's dead techno, which she had plugged in overnight, lit up. It chimed. She looked. It was a bank alert. Credit, 500,000 naira. Desk, Adebayo Holdings, Emergency Relief Fund. Amara gasped. That is for immediate expenses. Your rent, food, a new phone, clothes. You need to be strong for what comes next. What comes next? First, you rest. You've been carrying too much weight. Second, you prepare. In 2 weeks, Jessica has a major event. She's announcing a partnership with a foundation for underprivileged young women. The launch is being hosted at a major venue. A foundation? Amara's voice was bitter. Yes, the irony isn't lost on us either. He stood up. She's been negotiating with junior members of various corporate teams. She has no idea who the real decision makers are. She has no idea we've been watching. What do you need me to do? For now,
Nothing. Heal. Eat. Rest. Get your strength back. My grandmother wants to meet you properly, but only when you are ready. Not like this. He gestured gently at her current state, like the engineer you are. Amara's throat tightened. How do you know about that? We did our research. First class honors from OAU. Mechanical engineering, top of your class. You designed a prototype fuel-efficient engine for your final year project that your professor said was genius. He smiled. You are not a delivery driver, Miss Amara. You are an engineer who was surviving. There's a difference. Amara's tears rolled down her cheeks. Here is my number. He placed another card on her small table. Call me if you need anything at all. A car will come tomorrow to take you to a better place to stay. Somewhere quiet, somewhere you can think.
I don't understand why you're doing this. Femi walked to the door, then turned back. My grandmother was born in a village in Osun State. She sold oranges by the roadside to pay for her primary school. She knows what it means to be invisible, to be humiliated, to pray and hear only silence. His voice was soft. She also knows what it means when God finally answers, and she believes that sometimes God answers prayers by sending people. He opened the door. You prayed for one helper, Mrs. Amara. You're going to get more than one. After he left, Amara sat in stunned silence. She looked at her phone. The alert was real. 500,000 naira. She fell to her knees and wept. But this time, they weren't tears of despair. They were tears of relief. The next 2 weeks moved like a dream. A car came the following day as promised. Not a flashy Range Rover, but a clean, comfortable Toyota. The driver was polite, professional. He took her to a modest but clean serviced apartment in Ikeja. 2 bedrooms, hot water, steady electricity, a fridge with food already stocked. Compliments of Mama Agba, the driver said with a small smile. Amara cried again that night, but she also ate jollof rice, chicken, plantain. She ate until her stomach hurt, then she slept for 14 hours straight. When she woke up, there was a note slipped under her door. Rest today, tomorrow we begin. Femi. The next day, a woman came to the apartment, middle-aged, elegant with kind eyes. She introduced herself as Mrs. Badmus, a personal stylist. Mr. Femi said you need a wardrobe, she said, smiling. Not flashy, professional, like the engineer you are. They went shopping, not to Balogo Market or Bend Down Select, but to a proper store in Ikeja. Mrs. Badmus picked out simple, well-cut dresses, tailored trousers, blazers, comfortable but smart shoes. You need to look like you belong in a boardroom, because you do. Amara tried on a navy blue dress with a matching blazer. She looked in the mirror and barely recognized herself. She looked professional, dignified, like the graduate she was supposed to be. Perfect, Mrs. Badmus said. Over the next week, Femi called her 2 times, once to check on her, once to explain the plan. Jessica's event is in 5 days. It's at the Adebayo Holdings headquarters in Victoria Island. She thinks she's partnering with our company for her foundation launch. She's been dealing with our PR team who've been very encouraging. Does she know you are the CEO? No. She thinks I'm just another executive. We've kept my profile very low. She has no idea what's coming. What is coming? The truth, all of it. We've compiled everything. Every video, every lie, every humiliation. We've contacted the bloggers who spread her false narrative. We've reached out to the brand she's partnered with. We've even spoken to your former employer. Mr. Wali? Yes. He's been cooperative. Once he realized what actually happened and who was asking, there was a pause. He wants to apologize to you, personally. Amara didn't know how to feel about that. The event will have media, bloggers, corporate partners, people who believe Jessica's lies, and people who are about to learn the truth. And you want me there? I need you there.
Not for revenge, for justice, so people can see you, the real you. Not the blood face in a video, not the crazy stalker, the engineer, the woman who showed kindness to a beggar while Jessica mocked them both. Amara's hand trembled. I don't know if I can face her. You won't be alone. My grandmother will be there. I will be there. The truth will be there. All you have to do is show up and let us handle the rest. What if people don't believe it? What if they still think I'm lying?
Miss Amara, we have CCTV footage, body cam audio, and testimonies from security personnel, market vendors, and even church members who were ashamed of what they saw. We have Jessica's own posts, her own words, her own videos. The evidence doesn't lie. He paused. And we have something else, something Jessica doesn't know about. What? We have the old woman she mocked. We have Mama Agba. And when people find out who she is and what Jessica said about her, there won't be any doubt left. 3 days before the event, Mama Agba herself came to visit. Amara heard the knock and opened the door to see an elderly woman, but not the same one from the street. This woman was cleaned up, wearing a simple but elegant buba and iro. Her grey hair was neatly wrapped. Her eyes were still sharp, still intelligent. Mama, Amara breathed and immediately knelt. Stand up, my child, Mama Agba said, her voice warm. You knelt for me once in the hot sun. You don't need to do it again. Amara stood, tears already forming. Mama Agba came inside and sat down. She looked at Amara for a long moment. Do you know why I go to the streets? She asked. Amara shook her head. Because I never want to forget where I came from. I never want to forget what it feels like to be invisible, to be dismissed, to be treated like you are less than human because you have less money. She smiled sadly. Most people fail my tests. They walk past. They insult me. They fail me for content. But you stopped. You spent your last money. You knelt on hot pavement. I couldn't leave you. I know. I saw it in your eyes. You have a good heart. Mama Agba reached out and took Amara's hand. That girl, Jessica, she has everything I built for myself. Money, influence, comfort. But she has no character, no empathy, no fear of God. And that makes her more poor than any beggar on the street. She destroyed my life. No, she tested it, and you passed. You didn't become bitter. You didn't become cruel. Even at your lowest, you didn't curse her. You prayed, and God heard you. Amara's tears fell freely now. In 3 days, she will face the consequences of her actions, not because we are wicked, but because silence in the face of cruelty is also a sin, and I will not be silent. Mama Agba stood up. Wear the blue dress, the one with the blazer. Hold your head high. You are not a victim. You are a survivor. And after this, you will be victorious. She kissed Amara's forehead and left. Amara sat in the quiet apartment, her heart pounding. In 3 days, everything would change. The morning of the event arrived. Amara woke up at 6 a.m., her stomach in knots. She showered, taking her time. She styled her hair simply, pulled back in a neat bun. She put on the blue dress and blazer. The shoes were comfortable but elegant. She looked in the mirror. She looked like someone who belonged in a boardroom, someone with a first-class degree, someone who deserved respect. At 9 a.m., the car came. The driver, the same polite man, smiled at her. You look ready, ma. I don't feel ready. Nobody ever does, but Ogafemi said you are stronger than you think. They drove through Lagos traffic, heading towards Victoria Island, towards Adebayo Holdings, towards Jessica, towards justice. As they pulled up to the towering glass building, Amara saw the banners already displayed outside. Jessica Foundation launch, empowering tomorrow's women. Her stomach turned. The driver opened her door. 20th floor. Mr. Femi is waiting. Amara stepped out of the car, took a deep breath,
and walked into the building. The lobby was marble and glass, elegant, powerful. She gave her name at the reception. The woman's eyes widened slightly. Miss Amara, yes, you are expected. Please, take the executive elevator, 20th floor.
As Amara rode the elevator up, she prayed one more time. God, give me strength. Let the truth speak. Let justice be done. The doors opened, and there, waiting for her, was Femi. You look perfect, he said, smiling. Are you ready? Amara nodded, though her hands were shaking. Good, come with me. We have 15 minutes before she arrives. He led her down a hallway into a large boardroom. It was already filling with people. Bloggers, executives, media, cameras. Sit here, Femi said, pointing to a seat in the second row, off to the side. You won't speak. You won't move. Just let us handle everything. Amara sat down, her heart racing. At 9:55 a.m., there was a commotion at the entrance. Jessica had arrived. She swept into the room like a queen, wearing a custom white power suit. Her makeup was flawless. Her smile was bright. She was recording on her phone. Thank you all for coming. This is such a blessing. God is so good. She air-kissed the bloggers, paused for photos, and took her seat at the front, marked Guest of Honor. She didn't see Amara. She was too busy with her phone, posting, recording, performing. At 10 a.m. sharp, Femi walked to the podium. The room fell silent. Good morning, everyone, Femi said, his voice calm and commanding. Thank you for joining us today. Jessica looked up at him, her smile bright and flirtatious. Mr. Adebayo, so good to finally meet you in person. I'm Jessica. I'm so excited for this partnership. Miss Jessica, Femi said. His smile polite but cold. Before we proceed, we'd like to do a brief presentation, just to ensure everyone understands the values this partnership is built on. Oh, absolutely. Character, integrity, empowerment. That's what my foundation is all about. Exactly, Femi said. So let's talk about character. He nodded to someone at the back. The lights dimmed. Jessica sat up, expecting to see her own promotional video, but the screen lit up with something else entirely. Grainy, time-stamped CCTV footage from Seco Mall. The room watched as an old woman sat begging. They watched as Jessica and her friend approached. And then they heard Jessica's voice, amplified through the boardroom speakers. Ah, see this one, disgracing the youth. This is why people say Lagos is a zoo. Jessica's face went pale. Her smile disappeared. The room was completely silent. The video continued. It showed Amara pulling up on her bike, buying rice, kneeling, giving the food to the old woman. My child, the rain that beats the eagle will only wash its feathers. The clip ended. The light came up slightly. Jessica stood up, her voice shaking. What is this? That's edited. Edited? Femi's voice was quiet but sharp. This is unedited CCTV footage from Seco Mall. Time-stamped, verified. Would you like to see more? No, But the scream was already changing. This time, it was the estate gate, the rain, Amara shivering, Jessica's Range Rover pulling up. Still doing this dirty job? In the rain? Go and find a real woman's job. You are a disgrace to our gender. A collective gasp went through the room. This is harassment, Jessica shouted, her voice desperate. This is a setup. You are attacking me. We're not attacking you, Femi said calmly. We are simply showing the truth. The screen changed again. This time, it was a split screen. On one side, Jessica's viral Instagram post, "Poverty is a choice." On the other side, a scan of a university certificate, Amara Chukwubuka, first class honors, mechanical engineering, OAU. The murmurs in the room grew louder. "Does this look like a poverty mindset to you?" Femi asked. "Or does it look like a brilliant woman you try to destroy for showing kindness?" Jessica looked around wildly. Her eyes landed on Amara sitting quietly in the second row. Recognition flashed across Jessica's face, followed by rage. "You!" she screamed, pointing. "You set me up! You witch!" Amara didn't move, didn't speak, just looked at her calmly. Femi clicked the remote again. "Let's talk about the woman you mocked on the street, the beggar." A new photo appeared on the screen. It was Mama Agba, but this time in regal attire, standing in front of the Adebayo Holdings building. "This is Mama Agba, my grandmother, founder and principal shareholder of Adebayo Holdings, owner of Seku Mall and half of the commercial real estate in Jakande." The room erupted. Jessica's legs gave out. She grabbed the edge of the table to steady herself. She likes to walk the streets sometimes, to remember where she came from, to test the character of the city she's invested in. Most people fail that test. He looked directly at Jessica. "You didn't just fail. You performed cruelty as content." Jessica's phone, sitting on the table, began vibrating violently. "And now, I'd like to invite some of your partners to make statements." A woman from a major cosmetics brand stood up. "As of 10:03 this morning, we have terminated Jessica's endorsement contract, effective immediately." A man from a fashion label followed. "Same, all partnerships with Jessica are cancelled." One after the other, 5 different brand representatives stood up and publicly cut ties with Jessica. Jessica was shaking, tears of rage and humiliation running down her face. "Please," she whimpered, "please, this isn't, I can explain." She turned to Amara and in a twisted mirror of Amara's own kindness, fell to her knees. "Please, Amara, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Tell them to stop. I'll make it right. I'll give you money. I'll make you an ambassador. Please." Amara stood up slowly. The room watched her. She walked towards Jessica, each step measured. She looked down at the woman who had mocked her, humiliated her, destroyed her livelihood, and turned the internet against her. And then Amara spoke, her voice quiet but clear. "You didn't destroy me, Jessica. You just revealed yourself." She turned and walked back to her seat. Femi gestured to security. "Please, escort Miss Jessica out of the building. Her access to all Adebayo properties is permanently revoked." 2 guards came forward. Jessica screamed as they lifted her up. "No, you can't do this. Do you know who I am?" "Yes, we all do now." They led her out, her screams echoing down the hallway. When the door closed, the room remained silent for a moment. Then Femi spoke again. "Now, let's talk about what we're actually here to launch. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce the real head of the Adebayo Foundation for Women in STEM, Miss Amara Chukwubuka." The room erupted in applause. She walked to the podium, her legs shaking, and looked out at the crowd. These were the same people who might have torn her apart weeks ago. Now they were clapping for her. "Thank you," she said softly. I don't have a speech prepared." "Just speak from your heart," Femi said quietly, stepping back. Amara took a breath. 2 weeks ago, I had nothing. No job, no money, no hope. I prayed for one helper, just one person to see the truth. She looked at Femi, then out at the audience. God sent me more than one. Her voice grew stronger. What happened to me happens to people every day. They are mocked, humiliated, turned into content, villainized, and most of them don't get a rescue. Most of them suffer in silence. The room was completely still. This foundation won't just give money, it will give dignity.
It will find the brilliant women who are surviving, not living. The engineers driving bikes. The scientists selling food. The mathematicians cleaning houses. And it will give them what they were denied, a chance. The applause this time was thunderous. As Amara stepped down from the podium, Femi snarled at her. "Welcome to your new life," he said. 3 months later, Amara stood on the balcony of her new apartment in Ikeja, GRA. It wasn't flashy. It was peaceful. Her phone chimed. A salary alert. Her salary as Executive Director of the Adebayo Foundation for Women in STEM. She smiled. Her foundation had already identified and funded 12 women. Engineers, scientists, developers, women who had been invisible. She'd hired Mr. Wale to run the logistics arm after his tearful apology. She'd given Tunde and 2 other riders better-paying jobs in the foundation's operations. Every Sunday, she ate amala with Mama Agba and Femi. They'd become her family. As for Jessica, the stories varied. Some said she'd left Lagos. Others claimed she was selling products in Balogun Market. Amara didn't follow her story. That chapter was closed. She'd learned that pain can have purpose, that God's delays aren't denials, that wicked people eventually expose themselves, that silence can be more powerful than rage. And she'd learned that sometimes, when you're at your absolute lowest, when you pray for one helper, God sends an army. She looked out at the Lagos skyline, no longer an enemy, and she whispered a prayer of gratitude. Thank you.
As the waves receded, leaving the shore polished smooth, remember the old adage, the river cuts through the rock not because of its power, but because of its persistence. May the lessons you've absorbed today be the steady flow that shapes the landscape of your own life, moving you not with haste, but with relentless, thoughtful purpose toward your truest self. If this journey through ideas has stirred your mind or touched your heart, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hitting that like button and sharing this story with a friend is the simplest way to add one more fascinating topic to your next conversation. Let's keep this discussion going.